And welcome to a brand new day. This is the Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray, your host. Thanks for joining me here. All we ask for 30 minutes of your time to get the top 10 things you need to know to live your best life or start or grow your business. As I said, my name is Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. I've started 5 companies, sold 3 companies, authored 5 books, and I'm here to help you grow your business and do more than you may think you can do. In today's episode of the Rundown with Ramon, and it's always a special edition. Why? Because you're here. Imagine if you weren't here on the Rundown with Ramon, it'd be a very lonely show, but you're here, so you make it very, very special. Reach out to me if you like. Reach out to me on Instagram, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle, or other platforms. Would love to have you here with me today, and I'm glad you're here. By the way, how are you? How are you? I challenge you today in one thing. If you woke up this morning, if today's lunchtime for you, it's evening time for you, depends on where it is in your particular time zone, and the day maybe wasn't so great, what can you do today to make it better? What can you do today to make it a great day? I don't have the answer to that question, but hopefully you do, and hopefully you'll solve that as we continue this edition of the Rundown with Ramon. So let's jump right into it right now with our first tip of the day. Ding, 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 ding. This CEO had to drop her self-centered habit to become highly successful. Reading this from our friends at CNBC. For the CEO of Kusi Global, a small Washington, D.C. based executive coaching firm, was a leadership fellow at Harvard University, Harvard School of Public Health. She learned how damaging worrying about other people's perspective can be. I've gone through that many times before. We're human. We're made to be loved and give love. And it's not easy to not worry about what do other people think about me. I had to let go of the habit of fear. I call it self-centered fear. Fox is telling CNBC, again, Fox, that's referring to Fox, the CEO, full name is Talia Fox, CEO of Kusi Global. So Fox is telling that I had to let this go. Anytime I'm about to take an action, the thing that stops me from taking the action is worrying about what somebody else might think of me. Fear does that to us. It stops us. It limits us from doing the things we know we need to do. See, 2 decades ago, self-centered fear put Fox on the brink of an emotional breakdown as a master's student at Howard University. She was a single mom to a new baby. She wanted to excel academically and at work, and crumbling though under the stress, the intense stress of how do you put it all together, recently shared on Success Story podcast. The pressure intensified until Fox found herself crying on the floor of her apartment, holding her infant son. At that moment, she realized she had to live life differently. Do you realize it's time for you to possibly live life differently? Sometimes we're being so self-centered, self-absorbed, the anxiety and the stress just implode on us, and it makes us not do anything. So Fox thankfully worked with a therapist and got some help. If you can just break through the fear of what others are thinking and decide, yeah, you're going to feel weird, and show up anyway. That's the proverbial thing. Are we willing to show up anyways? Are we willing to show up no matter what the fear is telling us to do? Break through the fear. How do we ditch being fearful? A few questions you can ask yourself. Maybe you're asking what quotes resonate with you the most. Get that inspiration from what other people are saying, other people's journey. Speak words of affirmation to yourself by thinking, what are some of the favorite words that you may have to take you through this? Who are some people that share the same beliefs and mindset as you? In fact, what are those beliefs? And Fox is saying here, once you've answered these questions, circle the words that stand out to you and cross out the ones that don't. After studying what's left, try to come up with a phrase or sentence that lines up with exactly who you are and how do you want to live your life. This is really, really important. That fear of what others think can be debilitating, can crush us. And I encourage you today, don't let what other people are thinking about who you are or who you should be stop you from being who you are. This is so important. Again, everybody, my name is Ramon Ray. This is The Rundown with Ramon. And I'm so glad you're here today. If you weren't here, it'd be a very lonely show. All we ask is 30 minutes of your time to help you live your best life or start or grow your business. So thanks for taking the time to join me today as we continue on with The Rundown with Ramon. Ding, 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 ding. Next up, I saw an interesting article here about Kevin Hart. Many of us know him as this amazing comedian. His flagship entertainment company was valued at $650 million recently, called Heartbeat. But I like his journey because he's a comedian who has this talent. This singular talent he has, and more, of course, the mindset for business. But how can one leverage their talent and who they are to do more? That's the question I want to ask. That's the business of return, he says. The business of return. Sometimes people don't respect the ROI, return on investment. I'm a secure investment, says Kevin Hart. And you go through here, this article written in Wall Street Journal talking about his workout routine starting at 5 a.m. and he had just landed. He has that hard work, that hustle. Talking about his kids come in the room and he's greeting his kids and hugging his kids. The article says lots of comics have morphed into screen stars, but there's no precedent for Hart's hyperactive level of entrepreneurism and deal making. Same for his self-declared quest to create an empire and become a billionaire. Jerry Seinfeld says Hart's ability to maneuver in other fields is an anomaly. Most comedians cannot function outside of comedy. If somebody said the word ideation to me, I would just walk out of the room. But Hart has this unique ability to morph and grow, and still revolves around the most basic thing in show business, a man with a microphone alone on a stage. This is important to understand. Do you want to scale? Do you want to grow? Do you want to build? What can you do to take the one or two skills that God's given us to do and do more with it? Hart's firepower and stand-up put him in the vanguard of solo comics who can routinely sell out sports arenas and the occasional stadium. This is Kevin Hart. And I must look at him in my model of how there's one person who has that comedic flair, he laughs at himself quickly, easy to work with, and more. Can you believe it how people call you and I'm live taping on The Rundown with Ramon? Always teaches you when you're doing a live show, put your phone on mute. I do know what I've done for the craft of comedy, but that means I've changed the business of stand-up comedy. By that, I mean he's changed it. So my point is why I'm sharing this story with you, because I want to inspire you that we have unique gifts and talents, but that doesn't mean that's all we can do. Looking at the journey of Kevin Hart. The article goes on, talks about how Kevin Hart talked to Jeff Willis, the president of Live Nation. And Kevin Hart told him, listen, I've got a new 30-minute comedy routine. Let's do it. And so they built more on that. He performed for an audience of about 3,000 people in a small little movie theater. This is the journey of Kevin Hart. They talk about the haters and others who may troll and make fun of Kevin Hart. And Kevin's saying, you know what? I don't mind. I use it as entertainment. I laugh at it. It's okay. Kevin Hart is so positive, it seems, even to people who may be making fun of him. Another tip you got here, he's not doing this alone. He has this group called Members of the Plastic Cup Boys, are those who feed and help Hart do what he's doing. Another tip. Yes, there's Kevin Hart, that face, that flag we see there, but he's not doing it by himself. So there's a lot we can learn here. Talking about what others say about you, do you care? Talking about don't go it alone, who's your tribe? Talking about being able to take that unique talent that we have, that we can do it, and what more can we do with it? This is important. Kevin Hart, he came not from great means. The foundation for Kevin Hart's comedy is in northern Philadelphia, where he grew up with an older brother and a single mother who was as vigilant as his father was erratic. Nancy Hart died in 2007 and packed Kevin's time with extracurricular activities like swimming to keep him out of trouble. She later agreed to pay her son's rent for a year on the conditions he'd go to college if comedy didn't pan out. So Hart's dad died, In 2022, he's a drug addict in and out of prison and rehab, and more. But you can still make a difference in life. Another source of future material, Hart's stature. A short guy, so he makes fun of himself. So I want to encourage you today by reading this little overview of Kevin Hart. Things don't always start off immediately. Sometimes we look at the end result, forget to look at the journey, the beginning. At 18, he began performing at a weekly open mic competition in Philadelphia and winning, but it would take 2 years to learn how to translate personal history and vulnerability into a unique comedic voice. And the journey continues. We would put your joke on trial to see if the joke worked or not. And this is how Kevin Hart built his brand. Back then, he advised his protege to put a New York phone number on his resume so bookers wouldn't realize he was commuting from Philadelphia. Love this part of it's the hustle and a hack. And how you can innovate and think different. It says here through the 1990s and into the early 80s, I guess it is, beyond that, the only way to convert stand-up heat into mainstream stardom was to get an old-fashioned screens. Hart failed in doing this more than once. So my point is you have to go on and keep doing, make connections. But I think the bottom line, I'm seeing this, you have to keep doing. You have to keep going. You have to keep pressing forwards. You have to do this. Keep pressing forward. You can't stop. So your journey may not be the same as Kevin Hart's. It's probably going to be dramatically different. But the point is surround yourself with good people, uplift, add value, make a difference, seek to help others, seek to make connections in the world and get to a bigger and better place. And again, if you're just joining, my name is Ramon Ray. This is The Rundown with Ramon. All we ask is 30 minutes of your time to give you the top 10 things you need to live your best life and start to grow your business. And I'm so glad you're here today. My good friend, Dr. Fred Jones, has an interesting article here, Overcoming Feelings of Unworthiness for Business Success. I'm curious, have you ever gone through feeling unworthy? Feeling you didn't deserve to be where you are? Well, Dr. Fred Jones talks about this today. 5 tips to help you overcome feelings of unworthiness and open wide your full potential in life and business. Dr. Fred Jones says a few things, and I think it'll be interesting for us to understand and follow today and look at. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and treat yourself with the same care and empathy that you show others. The art of self-compassion. Number 2 says Dr. Fred Jones, challenge negative self-talk. Replace self-doubt with positive affirmations and focus on your strengths and achievements. Number 3, set boundaries. Learn to say no when necessary and prioritize your own well-being and goals. Dr. Fred Jones says, seek support. Surround yourself with positive influences and mentors who uplift and encourage you. And number 5, forgive yourself. Let go of past mistakes and forgive yourself for any perceived shortcomings. Embrace your journey and use it to fuel your growth. Maybe you feel you don't deserve something, and I don't have that particular problem or challenge. I got a lot of the problems and challenges, but I do encourage you this. You deserve success. You deserve greatness. That means it's going to be handed to you. I don't mean deserve it like that. But don't think that you're not worthy. Don't think you don't deserve it. Again, everybody, my name is Ramon Ray. This is The Rundown with Ramon, and I'm so glad you're here today. All we ask is 30 minutes of your time to give you the top 10 things you need to live your best life or start to grow your business. This is very interesting. Ding, 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 ding. Bring this up here. 17 outstanding scientific mysteries that researchers can't yet solve. I looked at this. I'm like, what? From our friends at Vox. Number 1, what is the universe made out of? Listen, the universe has been around for a while. God created it, a couple thousand years ago, whatever time that may be. But people don't know. What's the universe made out of? I don't know. How did life start on the earth? Well, that one I just kind of hinted and said that one. How did life start? How did dogs get here and more? Can animals feel grief? Can animals feel grief? I don't know. In 2018, a mother orca carried the carcass of her dead calf for 17 days, covering thousands of miles. The journey inspired many media reports, but also one big question: was the mother orca grieving? I don't know. Was the mother orca grieving? What's the secret to a great romantic relationship? It's one thing to have this in a rom-com video or TV series, a K-drama. So I don't know. How does sound become hearing? Sound enters our ears, light enters our eyes, chemicals splash up in our nose and mouth, and mechanical forces graze our skin. But it's up to our brains to make sense of what it all means and create a seamless, conscious experience. So how does sound become hearing? I don't know. One of those mysteries maybe only God can answer. But how does sound become hearing? Why don't doctors know more about endometriosis? I'm going to just move on from that one. Is there anything alive in the human poop left on the moon? Interesting. That's kind of funny. So many things that science just doesn't know. What's the definition of life? Common question we're asked. Well, of course, you have your birth happens. Two people get together, right? Guy and a girl get together and create, life. It starts growing. So I guess there's one definition of life there, but who knows? What is the definition of life? How should we define death? Interesting. These are things that people want to know. Is there such a thing as perfect internet encryption? Today's internet is built on a series of locks and keys that protect your private information as it travels through cyberspace. Really? Encryption is basically like this clock that wraps your private information. I think from what I've heard, though, about encryption is there's encryption, but everything can be hacked and broken into. The question is, how long does it take? So many questions that science, as it were, or people want to know. And, sometimes, in my opinion, we may not always have the answer to it. We may not always have the answer to it. But I thought it was interesting. Again, if you're just joining me, my name is Ramon Ray. This is The Rundown with Ramon. Thanks for joining me today for another exciting episode of The Rundown with Ramon. As we move on to our next topic of the day, the worst person on our team. Seth Godin always has interesting, insightful content. If you don't know Seth Godin, I encourage you to go to Seth. Just look up Seth, SethGodin.com and his blog, Seth's.blog, S-E-T-H-S, Seth's.blog. A common shortcut to cultural divisiveness is to find the single worst person in a different group and highlight and attack their behavior. By making it clear and obvious that this is what they, the plural, want and who they are, it's easy to walk away from a larger we. Their worst troll becomes their mascot. And in a media-fueled culture that thrives on division, this is a convenient shortcut. What happens, though, if we find the worst person on our team and tell them to chill out a bit? That people like us don't do things like that. That their trollish extreme behavior is magnifying differences instead of making it more likely we end up with useful cultural cohesion. It's surprising how much the outlier is willing to listen to the very people they're counting on for support, and the folks you seek to win over are much more likely to give you the benefit of the doubt if you have a history of discouraging bad behavior. It doesn't matter if we're talking about politicians, sports fans, entrepreneurs, or activists. More extreme division is unlikely to sell our idea and gain the support we're looking for. I love this. When we call out bad behavior, when we talk to others who are experiencing bad behavior, they will be more inclined to listen to us, says Seth Godin. If we're going to make the world a better place, we have to be willing to call out bad behavior every time we see it. Ding, 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 ding. Interesting article here. Four simple mistakes that can crush your creative side hustle. I think, did I skip one? No, sorry. What I meant to say, struggling to get a bank loan for your business. Bank loan, bank loan, bank loan. That's what I wanted to talk about first. Bank loans are often important for small business growth. Yes, I know Dave Ramsey says don't have debt, but sometimes you may want to finance your business. Joseph Cambarato talks about that. Private credit offers small businesses fast access to capital with significantly shorter processing times compared to traditional bank loans. Non-bank lenders offer more flexible financing options and have a higher approval rate, making them particularly advantageous for small and medium-sized businesses. So, how do you get financing for your business? The term private credit usually refers to non-bank loans issued to businesses such as peer-to-peer lenders, online lenders, and financing marketplaces are all examples of this. This financing option has been especially helpful for small businesses recently, considering banks aren't lending to businesses due to market conditions and the notorious risk-averse behavior. So what does private credit do? It gives companies access to various short-term and long-term financing options. You can use these financing to fund startup costs, a business expansion, and working capital. So what are some benefits of private credit? One, fast access to capital. Yeah, faster access to capital than a traditional bank loan. Flexible financing. Private credit is also more flexible when it comes to collateral requirements and repayment terms. High approval rate. Banks prefer lending to larger, more established companies. Non-bank loans have a much higher rate of approval for small and medium-sized businesses. Custom solutions. Since non-bank lenders have experience working with small businesses, they can provide custom financing solutions to meet your company's needs. Listen, many times we need access to capital to grow our businesses. Not always, but if you use capital right, other people's monies properly, you can grow your business. Determine what are your needs. Start by determining why you need financing and what you plan to use the funds for. For example, are you taking out a loan to cover daily expenses like payroll and inventory? To determine why you need them. Then the necessary documentation, business information. Not all lenders require a business plan, but some will. Financial statements, you'll surely need those. Tax returns, bank statements, business documents. And then don't feel bad to compare your offer. Compare what you need or don't need. My point is finance can be important. And thanks to Joseph for talking about this today. This is so important. How are we going to grow our business? And it's not a shame. In fact, it's great to strategically use financing to grow your business. Again, my name is Ramon Ray. This is the Rundown with Ramon. 4 simple mistakes that can crush your creative side hustle. Woo, this is interesting. You got a side hustle. What are some things you're doing that are not really working well? I would find projects locally in New York and then hire freelancers from all over the world to help me with the skills I didn't have. I loved the freedom and autonomy of working independently, but even more, I loved working with people from different cultures and backgrounds. Early on, I realized the flaws in the business models of the platforms I used. Independent workers can create a profile that showcases their skills and what they can actually do instead of their roles at past companies. Independent workers can create a profile that showcases their skills and what they can do. So this is important. Focusing on projects and skills allows independents to highlight the specific problems they've solved. So here's a few mistakes. 4 mistakes that could hinder any side hustler success. 1, underpricing your services just to attract your first few clients. Number 2, not prioritizing your projects right away. Number 3, not learning new in-demand skills. Number 4, not going the extra mile for your clients. These are 4 things as you're starting your side hustle that you want to keep in mind to have the greatest chance of success. Again, my name is Ramon Ray. If you're just joining, I'm so glad you're here. This is the Rundown with Ramon. We ask for 30 minutes of your time, just give or take, to give you the top 10 things you need to know to build your business to start your best life. Did you know there can be an upside to recessions, writes Aki Ito in Business Insider. There's a reason governments spend so many taxpayer dollars digging their economies out of recessions. Families lose home, children go malnourished, and more. But the latest evidence comes from the Lives versus Livelihoods, a new paper that says that during the Great Recession, the more joblessness, the longer people lived. Why? I don't know. But that's the question is. The economists ruled out a lot of possible explanations. Laid off workers weren't using their free time to exercise more. So I wonder why. Why does longer life happen? The answer was population. Counties that experienced the biggest job losses in the recession, the economists found, also saw the largest declines in air pollution. Who knew? So there's an upside, it seems, to having a recession. It's not good. You lose your jobs. It's a mess. But hey, sometimes you have upsides on things you didn't even know. My name is Ramon Ray. This is The Rundown with Ramon, and I'm so glad you joined me today on The Rundown with Ramon. Check me out on Instagram. DM me. Let me know how you're enjoying The Rundown with Ramon, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle, and other places you can find me. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, whatever you like. Let me know your tips, your news of the day, so I can help you live your best life and take things to the next level. Once again, I'll see you on the next edition of The Rundown with Ramon. Have an amazing, amazing, blessed day.